So we'll first go into queries because it's a small thing. So you can see there are two things which I have already created. One is a display package, which means or a display query. So for creating a query, it's up to you how you want to go ahead and create it. So there are two ways to create it. First thing is when you go into queries, you will not see any groups over here. So you have to create a new query group. We'll just put the name. So let's say I'm saying for main base object tables. This query group will be created over here. Now to create the query, you have two choices. Either you can create a query with a wizard, or you can create a custom query itself. In custom query, you'll just type the name and you have to put the SQL for that particular tables. The entire SQL will be put it over here. Okay. So let's say I'm just saying custom. And in this, if I want to go ahead and say select article first name, comma. So I have to type in the entire query, and this particular query, you can go ahead and write it in the SQL and then copy paste it over here. So it will be created, right? If I go over here, I can view the records according to that. If there are no records to be seen, then it will be updated as like that. As there is no data which is there, so we won't see anything. If we want to go ahead and use a query from the wizard, we just select like this. We select which particular table we are using. And over here, you can see all the data which is there. Your main table will be always be present like this. Query name is, let's say, it is utilized for display purpose. So display party. Next, all the attributes which we want to go ahead and select, we select all those attributes and we say finish. So right now you are seeing in this particular query that only you are able to see a SQL statement. But if you go over here, you'll see all these things. So if you want to create a link between address, so you just go ahead, add address as well, and you select the foreign key. And over here, your entire data will be there. For selecting attributes, you can go ahead and select from base object party as well now. If you want to add any condition, a sorting, a grouping, and all these things will come into a SQL. This is your SQL which they create, which the tool itself creates. Okay.
Here, like you've created a join between row ID object and party ID.
Yes.
So is that like same, or the party table also would be having a separate party ID?
I just added the row ID object and a party ID. So in the select statement, if I want the party ID to be selected or not, it's up to me. So if I just want to remove this particular attribute, this attribute will be removed. So all the tables which are coming from this table, so if I just want to have register row ID object, let's say, and a hub state indicator, I'll just remove all these attributes. And here I have which particular system it went ahead and updated. Is that particular record is active or not? What was the first name, last name, registry ID, gender, and all? What is the address of that particular record? All the things are there. So this is my select statement, and this is the SQL which it got updated automatically. This is what wizard means. If I want to have more tables which needs to be joined, I'll just go ahead, join that particular table, and it will be updated over here. So let's say I have a contact, I have something else. So this particular thing, I'll just go ahead and update the name as display party record or whole record. So over here, we can go ahead and select which particular table will be created as main table, primary table. So if I'm going ahead and creating a contact, the entire schema over here, if I know that, okay, for this particular person or this particular table, there might be a record or there might not be a record, I can select the join type as whatever I want. So that will be updated in my SQL statement. So let's say we want to go ahead and utilize the queries for creating or updating the record. So we'll just go ahead, we'll just say BO party record, BO party. I'll just select this. Next, I'll select all and I'll just say finish. And I'll go ahead, create a next one. We'll say for BO address, I'll go ahead, select for address, next, and then just finish. So it's pretty simple, right? I can create for lookup tables. I'll go ahead, create for lookup table. And I'll go ahead and create for country, let's say. Over here is country. And name would be LKT country. All the attributes and finish. So queries part is pretty simple, right?
So in queries, basically, it is kind of like a UI way to create the queries which would be actually running in backend, correct?
These queries are utilized by APIs with the help of packages. These queries cannot do anything. By themselves, they cannot do anything. These are simple just queries, nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, like somewhere either package or API call or something else would be
Correct.
using these queries to transfer the data, look up the data, and all that. So basically, this is a front-end way of writing the queries instead of like going in and creating the entire queries.
Correct.
Exactly.
So
We
basically, like the
okay.
custom query, we can go ahead and create using the wizard.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Jay,
And
like how APIs will be like connecting to these queries? I mean, to how it will get utilized? Like any
You,
connections or all?
yeah. So these queries are utilized first utilized to packages. How to create a package? So I've already created a put package. So I'll go ahead, create a new package. Over here, I'll just use the display name. So I'm just using for display purpose. Let's say it will be for reading the data, right? Read party code. Okay. So it will be created. Now this enable put is actually utilized to insert the records or to manipulate the record. So right now we are just using for reading, and then I will use the query which I created and state. So now this particular package will be utilized by the API calls so that they can go ahead and read the entire data directly by using the SIF calls. Go ahead and create a put package which will enable them to insert. We'll just go ahead like this. We'll say, let's say the put party hold came in. We'll go ahead, select. So you can see over here that if we are joining anything, then we cannot go ahead and select that joined, right? So basically for put, there is only single tables which you can go ahead, because when we go ahead and create for multiple table, the locking system to push the record gets hampered by MDM, how they have written the code in the background. Hence, we go ahead and utilize single tables for each thing. Okay, we go ahead, create a new package for package for address. So even a put package, if you want to go ahead and separate out that, okay, one person can, or any API, if they want to go ahead and use these put packages, they want to go ahead and update your record, but you don't want them to update a specific attribute, you can just go ahead and click read onlys for those attributes as well. These comes in handy for that particular purpose. Okay. And the put package in over here in the data manager, these can be also utilized to read, because unless and until you are going ahead and updating anything, it's basically reading the data. Okay. So we will be creating a little bit more queries and packages once we go into hierarchy management. Okay. So these packages, you can see the query and to how to build them over here. queries.
So when you create this package, right? So you told this can be utilized by API. So how this will be published and where we can, I mean, we for an API we need to provide an endpoint or anything, right? So something like that will be created or
So that is basically in the SIF manager.
okay.
We go ahead and create the URL, right? So this URL they go ahead and utilize for that particular object, and that object will be having certain number of packages, mappings, and cleanse function.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
So this package is basically what gets created in Oracle, right? Backend and gets stored there.
Everything, whatever configuration you are actually creating over here is getting created in MDM. But how you can go ahead and see these? You will be seeing them in repository tables. You will not see them in anywhere else. You'll see them over here. These are MQ, match, job tables, IAM, hierarchy manager, packages, then cleanse lists, business entities, audit tables. This is other thing, validation tool, system, SIF, operation config, SAM rules. These are query SQL, query groups, and then queries. These are all the queries.
Actually, what I meant to ask is like if you're creating a package there, so does it get created under package or everything is in tables only? Like in SQL, you
Everything is
have
in
like,
table. Everything is in
package
table.
also.
Everything is in table.
Okay.
These are all the queries which have been created. Okay.
Okay. So because actually, like in our like project, I've seen like there are like tables are there, but also other than the tables, there is something called as packages also, right? In SQL Developer.
Right.
So we have a lot of like packages there. So
Those
that
packages
would be
over here,
different,
right?
or it would be yeah.
So these are logs, and these are for something else. This is CMX log.
Actually, in our project, there are a lot of customization.
Okay.
So those
Customized
packages are part
packages.
of those customizations. Yeah.
Okay, so those packages will be utilized by the ETL or something like that. Because
Not by
you can utilize the
It will be called
procedures, functions. You can utilize any of these things by MDM using the cleanse functions.